Hello viewers, as you already know that we do in-depth research on important issues happening around the world, so continuing our in-depth reporting and increasing your knowledge and information. Today our research team will expose the false illusion spread by Modi government that India's economy has become $4.3 trillion and India has become the fifth largest economy in the world. So friends, we request you to understand this research report patiently till the end because this report explains the issue related to your money. See friends. The Modi government is loudly claiming that India's economy has grown to $4.3 trillion and the country has now become the fifth largest economic power in the world. This is making headlines. Organizations like the International Monetary Fund, IMF, seem to confirm this, and the government is presenting it as its crowning achievement, but if we look past this glitz, we see a weak structure, false data, deliberate manipulations and ignoring the unorganized sector, which is the base of 94% of India's workers. See friends. Our research team today shattered this claim and said that India's real economy is only $2.5 trillion. This is not a small debate, but a bitter truth that proves that the government is more immersed in propaganda than progress. Friends, understand the game of numbers. First understand the truth. The government's claim of $4.3 trillion is based on GDP figures that our research team says are completely wrong. The reason? These figures do not properly reflect the unorganized sector, agriculture, micro-enterprises, small traders, which is the backbone of India's economy. Government estimates take the easy route, assuming that the performance of the unorganized sector is the same as the organized sector, but this is not an oversight, but a deliberate fraud. Our research team says, the unorganized sector data is very weak. There is no annual assessment of 11 crore farmers and 6 crore micro-units. Instead, the government shows a growth rate of 6 to 7% based on the organized sector data, whereas in reality it is not more than 1.5 to 2.5%. The evidence is shocking. Demonetization in 2016 devastated the cash-dependent unorganized sector, followed by four major shocks: GST, the NBFC crisis and the pandemic, which devastated small businesses while big corporates escaped unscathed. Our research team points out, GST hit the unorganized sector the most. Organized sector got input credit, costs came down. But costs for the unorganized sector rose and demand shifted to the big players. Kitchenware industry is an example of this. Demand from large units grew by 242% in 2018. While small units stagnated, leather, textiles, FMCG, luggage, it's the same story in every sector, which the government ignores in its GDP game. Now, viewers, understand the second thing. See friends, today there are two Indias in this one India. Understand its story as well. What I mean to say is that Modi government has promoted inequality in India. The middle class poor and even most of the rich of India have become poorer today and only a few favorite capitalists of the government are becoming rich. Look. What I mean to say is that India's economy is divided into not one but two parts. The organized sector, which represents only 6% of the workers, is flourishing with government help, tax exemptions, infrastructure investment and policy support are its share. On the other hand, the unorganized sector with 94% of the workers has been left on its own, which is struggling with policy mistakes and market pressure. Our research team says, e-commerce is growing at 20 to 30%. While the shops in the neighborhood are collapsing. Our research team tells that before the year 2020, nothing used to come online to people's homes. Now 90% of the purchases are done through e-commerce. This is not progress, but a well-planned conspiracy to divert demand to corporates and multinationals, while the unorganized sector shrinks. The result? A chasm of inequality that crushes growth. If you give an extra 100 rupees to a rich person, he will spend 5 rupees, while if you give it to a poor person, he will spend the entire 100 rupees, says our research team. When wealth is concentrated in the hands of the organized sector, demand stagnates, which is why organizations like CII and Fitchy complain of a lack of investment despite corporate tax cuts. At the same time, big capital-intensive projects, highways, freight corridors, IT hubs that benefit the organized sector employ fewer people. Earlier, it took hundreds of laborers to build a road. Now it takes 10 people and a bulldozer, taunts our research team. This is not development, but a partisan game. Now friends, we also put the mirror of truth in front of you. Modi versus Manmohan. C. The government beats the drum of 108% economic growth in its 10 years, 2014 to 2024. While in Manmohan Singh's tenure, 2004 to 2014, the economy allegedly grew 3 times from $0.71 trillion to $2.04 trillion. But our research team cuts through this noise. In real terms, if inflation and dollar fluctuations are taken into account, Manmohan Singh's 7 to 8% annual growth rate is far ahead of Modi's false official 6.5% growth rate of 1.5 to 2.5%. Manmohan Singh's tenure struggled with external shocks like the 2008 global financial crisis, but there were many major developments in the right to food, education, and other fields. Safety nets like the unemployment rights and a loan waiver of 75,000 crore rupees kept demand alive. Exports grew, and 4% growth was sustained even in a global slowdown. Modi's record? A list of suicidal policies. Demonetization, GST, the NBFC crisis and the sudden lockdown. These were all senseless policy disasters created by the Modi government, claims our research team. The 2020 lockdown, implemented without thinking, caused India's growth rate to drop by the most among the top 20 countries. The Delta wave caused 1.5 million excess deaths, according to the WHO, which was an underreporting. Manmohan Singh tackled external crises. Modi created internal crises, crushing the unorganized sector. What was the result? A sluggish economy pretending to be vibrant. So friends, why do we say that the lie spread by the Modi government that India has the 5th largest economy? Whereas India's economy cannot even be said to be at the 9th position because there is no accurate data for this. The government's claim that India has overtaken Britain to become the 5th largest economy is laughable to our research team. We are still hardly at number 9, with $2.5 trillion, we clarify. The 4.3 trillion figure spread by the Modi government is an illusion, based on unverified data, which the IMF and the World Bank promote by repeating the Modi government's data. To overtake Germany and Japan and reach the 3rd position by 2027 or 8 trillion by 2030. Impossible, our research team taunts. At a growth rate of 1.5 to 2.5%. India will only reach 2.7 trillion by 2027 and 2.8 trillion by 2030, which is a far cry from the top 3. Friends, why do the world's big countries laugh and remain silent on the useless talks of the Modi government? Because they do not take these claims seriously, says our research team. Friends, while Modi's Vishwaguru paper noise shows power, the $85 billion trade deficit with China, from high-tech APIs to Diwali lights, exposes its dependence. India ranks 140th in per capita income. If it were Vishwaguru, people would migrate here, not stand in line at foreign embassies, sarcastically says our research team. And that is why the world is not debating India's ranking, it is ignoring it. Friends, now we tell you further, the unseen truth of unemployment. If the economy was really growing at a pace of 6 to 7%, why would unemployment increase? but it is increasing, especially among educated youth, 15 to 29, and women, who are dependent on the unorganized sector. The e-Shram portal shows that 94% of unorganized workers earn less than 100 rupees a day, teetering on the poverty line. If the unorganized sector grows, so does employment, our research team asserts. Instead, automation in agriculture, harvesters, tractors, and capital-intensive infrastructure, fewer laborers, more machines are benefiting the organized sector, while the masses sit idle. Poverty has reduced, says the government, but our research team calls it a lie. The deterioration of education, health and well-being in the pandemic exposes the truth. Friends, Modi Sarkar me prachar ka shur hai aur vote bank ki chal hai 4.3 trillion ka danang hijri? It's for the vote bank, our research team claims. This narrative, India an emerging giant, third by 2027, developed by 2047, is a ploy to comfort the masses and woo Modi-backed institutions like the RBI and SBI, slaves to political appointees, do not challenge it. Academics are silent out of fear. The PM's Economic Advisory Council did point out the flaws in the data, but the government rejected it and replaced its officials. There is no independent international investigation. The lies continue unchecked. Friends, our advice to you is that the path is clear. Embrace the truth. Stay away from the Modi government's false hypocrisy. India's economic future lies not in skyscrapers or bullet trains, but in its unorganized sector, in farmers earning 27 rupees a day. In the 6 crore micro-units that employ 1.7 crore people. If the Modi government wants to remain in the Bharat government, it must change its focus, our research team demands. Or else the people of India must replace the government with the Congress government of the All India Alliance. Minimum support prices, rural employment, and policies that increase unorganized income are what India needs now, not more concessions to corporates. Multinationals and the organized sector can hold their own, they don't need a cushion. As long as inequality rises and demand remains weak, growth will stagnate, no matter what the headlines scream. The $4.3 trillion economy is a myth, hiding the reality of $2.5 trillion. India is 9th, not 5th. 3rd by 2027 or $8 trillion by 2030. Dreams remain dreams. It's time to reject the hype and embrace the truth, without strengthening the unorganized sector. India's economic dreams will crumble like a pack of cards in the wind. Our research team has thrown down the gauntlet. Will the Modi government accept it, or keep selling illusions? Asks the citizen of India. Our thoughtful audience, we put in the effort, research and hard work to bring you the issues and topics that matter in a clear and time-saving way, so please like, share and subscribe and inspire our team and help us make this important effort. Comment your views on the whole topic too. Please visit our website VOPGLOBAL.org and raise your voice. Also join us by downloading your volunteer press card available on our website and share your views and news. Team, Digital Media, Economy and Finance, Voice of the People International.